to my Thursday subscriber stream here on Twitch and lichess.org. International Master Will Paschall. This is my Slaggy, that's my name on Twitch, my Slaggy subscriber stream. So today we're going to be doing game analysis with the subscribers to the stream. Welcome everyone. Great to be with you guys on this fine day. I see Acerbate here, Merle Dixon, Tushar Camday, Saul, and hopefully the stream is good to go. Let me check to make sure. We've got audio, no drop frames, reasonable webcam. I just want to mention I got my cable modem and a router to go with it. So I'm just crossing my fingers. On my day off tomorrow, I'm probably gonna install the new router and modem and see if we can eliminate this problem. It hasn't plagued me too badly, but you requested by email to Video Chess Trainer as well. I did get your game. Acerbate, maybe it came through on lichess too. Let me see. So, yeah, I think you were the first one, Acerbate. I didn't get one on lichess, but I definitely got the one on email. So, we'll go with that first. Yeah, I'm just waking up, guys. Nikolai Pavlov. Everyone's welcome to watch. I do submissions of game analysis for the subscribers to my stream. Thanks to the 100 bits from Merle Dixon. Merle Dixon is a contender this week. Saul with 1,500 and Acerbate tied 1,504. Juicebox Wizard has been away for the last couple days. Clash Kid with 1,000. Merle Dixon with 551. Spectacular Camel donated 100. Blazing Hearts. So we've got 7 people donating here to help support the stream. It's 4:30. I'm just waking up. Well, I had a long day. Lots of lessons. I'm waking up for the second time. Psychologically waking up is what I mean. I wasn't literally asleep. I've been working all day, so it's been a really busy day. But I have to kind of put myself in a different place for this. Be more alert and awake. Mr. Coffee, here's to you. Coffee-wise. I'm just going to close the window because I think they're going to start like mowing the lawn across the street or something. So, usually they do this just in time for my streams. There are a lot of neighbors near where I'm staying, and generally like people have yards and make a very loud noise mowing their lawn, so that doesn't really go well. All right, just to be on the safe side. So I've got submissions from Acerbate. Let me see. Merle, JCS, Saltigo, Saul. That's what I see so far. Lawnmower remotes. That can replace the ambulance while I'm here in the United States. We need to basically revolve between ambulances and lawnmowers. So Mr. Coffee found out I won the top under 1800 prize in your local Lancaster tournament. That's awesome. That's awesome. I know that you had mentioned that was possible. So I take that you won the last round game, because I hadn't heard about your last round game, Mr. Coffee. Let me know. I'm working so hard. I still find time to stream. I really enjoy doing the streams. And, I enjoy playing, and it gives me an excuse to play. So the neighbors should go electric. Oh, man. Man, people have, like, riding mowers and stuff for their, like, little yards. It's really insane. Anyway, what's up, guys? Ready to get started here? I want to pick up this game by Acerbate, though. I think it's in my email. I'm going to have to go to the email, and how am I going to get this? Let me see. What did I do now? I did something crazy. I got to open a new place and get Acerbate's game. He was having trouble with the emails with messaging on lichess earlier, so where did it go? Okay, let's see if I can pick it up over here. I wish I could move it. Move it. Now I'm gonna have to, how am I gonna do this? Can I move it over there? Oh man, this is gonna be crazy. Let me see. All right, acerbate. I can just pick this up and make a separate window. It looks like. Can I just make a new window with it? A third window. Yeah, it just made a new window. Okay, we're gonna do it that way. So I've got my second window. Wow, Mr. Coffee, you lost, and you actually, some others lost too. $8, big money. All right, this is Acerbate's game. I'm gonna have to. How am I gonna do this for you guys? All right, I'm gonna have to make a study. I'll put it in there. Let's do this. Study, new study, new study. We'll call it Sparkle Horse. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'll just call it new study, and that'll leave it at that. And I'll just be able to find it. All right, let's try this. Okay, studies. This is taking me a little while. I'm a little bit slow in the uptake here, guys. Let me get warmed up psychologically. We got some lag going on. Where's my studies? There we go. My studies. Game study. There it is. Now we can see it. Hooray. All right, so we got Acerbate's game here. Acerbate against Sergio Pocos de Caldas. Okay, so Acerbate is white. We want to see the games. Come on, here we go. It took some maneuvering to find this from my email, bring it over here. It was very difficult. All right, but I'll do anything for you guys. So we see this in Sparkle Horse's streaming. That's cool. Thanks all. All right, so Acerbate here is white. We have e4, e5, bishop c4. The bishop's opening. It's a 10-minute game. Knight to c6. Knight f3, and we're into the Joko piano. What will black do? d6. What is this called? Does anybody know? Does this have a name, or do they just lump this in with the Hungarian defense? It's just called Italian game. So I'm not really up on my d6. How does d6 compare to playing bishop e7? I mean, is it just going to be a transposition? You know, I mean, the classic way of playing with the Hungarian defense is, of course, bishop e7. Slightly different. You're developing a piece. Here you're moving a pawn. What's the difference effectively? What's the difference statistically, I wonder? Bishop e7, 874 games, the Hungarian defense. 42, you know, the statistics are almost identical between d6 and bishop e7. I guess that d6 would allow you to possibly play g6 if white were to play something quiet. All right. Yeah, and that's what he does. He plays d3, so, you know, it makes you wonder, white should play something more incisive here. Obviously, d4 is the critical move. c3, maybe setting up d4. c3 is setting up tactics, too, with, like, queen b3, possibly pressurizing. I don't know if I'd call it a tactic, but, you know, ideas of attacking f7. But d4 is the most direct move, Acerbate. Wonder, though. After this quiet move, you see, there's like 3 games with g6. I'm not surprised by that. Please say hello to Soltigo. Hello, Soltigo. I'm so sorry for not saying hello. What is Ahmadi to do? What happened, Soltigo? I'm sorry. I was just getting so into the game. You sent me the Acerbate game. Oh, man. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit tired today. I was negligent, not paying attention to Soltigo. You need to, like, put in huge flashing bit donations or something like that. I don't know what you can do to get my attention. I'm sorry, Soltigo. So I'm just so into the game now already. It doesn't matter. I've already got it, you know, here, so we're good. Interesting concept, though. Funny, knight a5 here. Almost like a trap. There's no d4. We can't open the position anymore. So, Will Paschall. Yeah, I mean, knight a5 makes sense. It's almost like you fell into a trap. I think you got to go with d4 here, objectively. That's the only key test of this position. And I would wonder if you can't attempt some kind of gambit attack. E takes d5, c3, or something like that. Look at the score. Most people play knight takes d4. But this move order is kind of funky. It makes me want to play like c3. Apparently, according to the engine, it's not devastating, not that dangerous, but it looks interesting. Trying to play a gambit style idea here. But I think that most importantly, you really need to strive for d4. Not the only way to play Asterbate, but it looks like knight a5 is a threat, so the alternative would be c3. It's not just about playing d4. You give your bishop retreat squares back to b3 and back to c2. So there's a defensive element to it as well. You played d3, you played h6, and that's a reasonable move, I guess. Averting knight g5, trying to play like g6, something like that. Castles, committing early to castling. Again, I like c3 here for white, something like c3. Alternatively, you could play a3, just giving the bishop retreat squares. So castles committing early. I think knight a5 strikes me as a good move. Absolutely fantastic variation here. The computer is coming up with some crazy stuff, but experts know these themes in this type of lines. But look at this. Is this really good? c6, bishop takes f7, check, king takes f7, and b4, trapping the knight. What's the final outcome, if you go into something like this? Unclear, right? Who's better? White gives up the white squared bishop. Black loses his right to castle. Interesting stuff. Saul would like this. All right, so you got h6, and the actual game was castles, knight a5. Wow. So he went for it. Makes you kind of think like, hey, this is a cool line. So you should try bishop d5. That's interesting. In the event of bishop d5, he doesn't see anything better than c6, bishop takes f7, king takes f7, b4 with an unclear position. Move 11, what's up? No fuss. Fuss and muss. So bishop d5, best try. Interesting, unusual position. So instead you tried knight a3. That's creative, it's creative. I mean, you're trying to profit from this, and in losing your bishop, you're gaining time to develop the knight to the center of the board. Kind of like cool. I've seen this happen. Where have I seen this happen? Nowhere. I don't know. I haven't seen anything exactly like this before, but it's a creative idea. I think it's not bad. So a6. Now his knight is sidelined, giving you a second chance to play bishop d5. Again, bishop d5, c6. We have the same idea. Bishop takes f7, check. King takes f7, and then like b4. I don't know, what this really means, but at least his king is open. It's probably not bad for white. Anyway, guys, let's move on. So knight a3. He doesn't want to take it. He plays a6. Then I like bishop d2. Very simple. c6 now. And now you have the really cool idea of bishop takes f7 again. This is like a better version, because in this version, we're threatening to basically like win a pawn. King takes f7 and b4. Very awkward for black. Your knight's a little awkward here too. Maybe like b5, trying to contain your knight. I don't know. This isn't just as simple as being up a pawn. The pawn structure is pretty mangled for both sides. So, weird stuff. But I mean, stuff to think about for the future, Asterbate, if you encounter this position again. So d4, you played the best move according to the computer. Which I'm honestly thinking, if black hadn't played these moves, a6 and h6, I'd really like his game here. Yeah, it seems to me that those are extraneous weaknesses that black doesn't need. I like c6, d6, knight a5, e5, but we don't need h6 and a6 here. Knight takes c4, I expected. Knight takes c4, knight takes c4. And now you're really just over crushing. You're overwhelming the e5 square. So this looks really good, man. Again, if there was no a6 and especially no h6, I think black could just play f6 and strong point this. It would be kind of cool to just play f6. But there's just too many weaknesses. Look at that. Bang! Knight takes f takes e5. Unbelievable variation. Sacking a piece. Oh my god, what? F takes e5, queen h5 check. Does this even work? Wow. That's all I have to say. Looks like I've got some crazy lag going on. It's a good thing the new modem came. Wow, got the crazy ping. So we're definitely in time installing the new modem and stuff tomorrow. Absolutely insane variation. I mean, it looks like black could walk away here, and you're thinking, what's going on here? But then there's this move. Bishop a5. Unbelievable. And there goes the rook, right, with knight b6. White is all over you. I mean, black in this position. And black is just in big trouble. Really, really cool, Astrobate. I like the way you played. Minimum pawn weaknesses. And here you retreated. Let's see. This didn't happen. I mean, he didn't play f6. I'm just saying, what would happen. He played b5. You have bishop a5. Wow. Nice development. So you missed this move. Very enterprising attempt, though. What will happen ultimately, like if queen e7, let's say knight b6, remove the rook. Our knight is plugged in on b6 and it's not getting out. So you have to consider all your options. Consider that knight maybe getting trapped. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. This looks like really good for white. Wow. Okay, so Astrobate missed bishop a5. He played a sort of safe move. Black gives up his center. Knight takes. And now bishop b7. Fundamentally good game by white. It reminds me of the Norwegian variation of the Will Paschall. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about when I say that, but there is this variation with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6, bishop a4, b5, going for the bishop, basically. It was kind of trendy for a little while recently, this style game. I think that this is what it really, really reminds me of. Knight takes b3, a takes b. Black weakens the queen side, but he gets the bishop pair, but he can't really maintain his strong point on e5. It's very, very similar to what happens in this game Astrobate plays here. All right, back to the real game. I like the way you played. It's very compact, but it looks like he gives up the center here. Big mistake. He didn't need to give up the center. He could play knight f6 or something like that. He trades off his center. Knight takes d4. Bishop b7. Again, the bishop actually, ironically, looking both ways on d7 might be better. And so Tushar says, what? I was streaming the other day. I was playing a Petrov-themed tournament. So variation. If you have an interesting game you want to submit, Tushar. So basically, black has very little development. His king's still in the center, and white has a strong pawn on e4. At the end of the day, Astrobate has done well here. Bishop c3 looks very strong. Rook e1 looks like an idea. Queen g4 looks like an idea. Lots of good moves. You played queen g4, very active move, concrete threat. I am, however, concerned that your knight doesn't have a good place to go from there. Therefore, we're liking bishop c3 a little bit more, because with bishop c3, we're on g7, and I'm not seeing my knight getting kicked off of f5. Now black has to play this insane move here, rook h7, the lateral rook defense. Then he can slowly try to get you out with g6, but by that point you can play knight d5, your other knight will revolve back here. What I don't want to see is your knight getting kicked back to g3, because on g3 it's kind of, I don't know, difficile. It's just not good. Alright, so queen g4, I'm afraid that's going to happen. But instead he plays knight f6. You chop that guy with check. And this is some sort of intentional sacrifice here. He's looking for the g file. And it is dangerous. He's got the bishop on b7, rook down the g file. You know, this could go wrong. Could definitely go wrong. So you've got to be careful. You gave him a little bit of initiative. Now you have to take a second pawn. I had a game with Igor Novikov like this in a Najdorf once, where he had really scary threats along the g file, but it's not the same. Queen takes h6. Man, you know, everything's going to bear down on g2, but it's okay because you've got that knight on e3. It's okay. The Mr. Knight is protecting the g2. Now he takes e4. You know, so you played bishop e1. It's a little bit long-winded. I would prefer rook a d1 and just bring it with the rook first down the d file. I'm perfectly happy to trade my bishop for the knight on e4. So while this move probably isn't bad, he starts to have weird threats like maybe knight g5 or something like that. I thought rook d1 is more of a developing move in this position. Development. Bishop e1 a little bit slow, but I really like the way you played this, Acerbate. And then he just retreats. Why would he do that? Why would he retreat that beautiful knight on e4? I mean, he's just figuring you're coming with f3 anyway, so he's getting kicked out. I would still try to find something better. Move the queen and try to castle queenside with black here. He doesn't really want to trade queens since he's down material in an ending. So really nice game, Acerbate. Interesting stuff. You played bishop a5. Now you got a little bit crazy. You know, just f3. You're very solid. Your bishop is actually a good defender as well. And you have the sneaky threat of bishop h4. You're shutting down his bishop. I really like that. That's cool. But this was creative, tactical move. Bishop a5, just when you thought it was safe to come out of the water. Bishop a5. Got you with that. Now you played it. That's cool, though. Take. He can't castle. Yeah. Rook g6 and try to castle queenside for black here. Wow. Power game. Acerbate used less than 2 minutes for this game. Insane, man. Insane. Yeah, here you could have brought a third piece into the final attack. You were a little bit materialistic here. But he helped you. Not good to get mated in one. He's got to try this. And you're grabbing a knight in this ending. You know, you're probably playing this and this and this and this. And then, I don't know, rook c8. And you're playing a piece up in an endgame. You probably could have put him away if you brought the final piece in the game. But anyway, Acerbate, this was a great game. Like, probably the most impressive game I've seen you play. No weaknesses. Very compact. Very, very much really paying attention to fundamentals. This was an awesome game. The fear comes in. Yeah, so here, instead of knight check, you could have increased the power. Turned up the power a notch with, like, rook e1. And that's 3 pieces in his face instead of 2, which is even more deadly. He can try to get away, but it looks really nasty here now. Obviously, now this check, now it's over. He's got to sack his queen, and it's like force mate in a few. He's got a few checks, but he runs out pretty quickly. So anyway, guys, good game. Acerbate, man, you're coming along, I think, nicely. That was excellent. Okay, moving on, guys, to the next game. I've got to confirm. Soltigo, we good to go? You got any other games for me, Soltigo, that I didn't know about? Sorry to ignore you there, buddy. Soltigo's our moderator. If you're new to our stream, he's just fantastic. We also have a Discord channel. If you guys want to join that, you can check in with Soltigo. So, International Master William Paschall. I'm streaming from Massachusetts, USA. I'm also many months out of the year living in Hungary. So the stream is European and North American. We're in summer mode here from the US. All right, I've got Merle Dixon down next. Merle has been very supportive of the stream. We see here he's given quite a few bit donation. Bit donation today of 100. He's donated 551 this week. I really appreciate it, guys. Top cheerers on lichess. So Pub Slaggy on the Discord is open. All right, hey, what's up, Panda? This is our mascot, one of our mascots. Panda. Hey. Okay. You guys ready for my game? Slaggy won't let me show it because it's H4. But maybe next time. Alright, guys. Good game, Acerbate. Alright, that's our mascot, Panda. Okay, guys. We've got Acerbate up next. No, Acerbate was up. Merle is up next. Merle Dixon. Okay. I think this is the first time Merle Dixon has suggested, he submitted a game for a game analysis, and he's an interesting and aggressive, kind of good player, I think. We don't know. He's relatively newer to the stream, but we haven't had a game analysis from Merle before, I don't think. If I'm correct, if I remember correctly, he's submitting a game here. He's just played in the past. Let's take a look at this. So it's correspondence chess. Merle Dixon, quick and dirty game. 1 to 60 seconds per move, which I managed to win against Stockfish level 7. I rarely get wild positions like this in my games. Any advice would be appreciated. I just wanted to say, Wubba who's a Hungarian viewer, today he actually offered a correspondence game to me. I just want to let you guys know that if you do want to challenge me to a correspondence game or something like that, I'm totally game to play, but I don't do like really fast time controls like one day or three days. I like to do 5 days per move, or even better is like 7 days per move, because I'm fairly busy. So I declined that challenge from Wubba because I don't like to play 1 day or 3 day correspondence. Just to let you guys know. Merle Dixon here playing Stockfish. Okay. Well, I haven't played the level Stockfish is, and I don't really know how strong they are. I basically gave up playing computers like 15 years ago, but I do constantly use them as analysis tools. I wouldn't want to get into a really tactical sort of style of game. Even 15 years ago when I was still playing Fritz and stronger engines, I would really make an effort. I would play aggressively and even very sharp positions, but I would play in a controlled way. Like when I was white in the Sicilian, I play a kind of Karpov style E4 game, basically. I try to avoid absolute tactical slugfests. Level 7, 2200, you said, too sharp? Still difficult to give I feel like it's difficult to give a numerical rating to this Stockfish stuff. These handicap engines are very strange because they don't play in a human way. I mean, they don't even play in a computer way. They play well, and then they like just make blunders or what. It's hard to create artificially weaker computer. Something not natural about it. So Soltigo mentions that we will be playing like a correspondence game against the Discord members, which would be cool. So Merle, I did notice this. He's more of a positional player. We'll see what happens here. He plays Bishop F4, which he's played against me. Now we see that the computer is programmed to play weird stuff out of the opening. So handicapping itself. So it goes out of book. voluntarily now with h6. Do you guys remember? This has actually been played by Mamedyarov. Oh my god. That's embarrassing. Like, poor Ponomarev. Ponomarev had this position and, like, god, that's a diss. You know, I mean, you're playing, like, Ponomarev, FIDE knockout world champion, and Mamedyarov just plays h6 and won the game. Okay. But anyways, yesterday, or whenever it was, Tuesday, we had a viewer tournament, and I had a game that was like bishop g5, knight e4, bishop f4, g5, bishop c1, bishop c1, g4. That's kind of reminding me of what, you know, this could kind of think could happen in this sort of position with the h6 here. But anyway, back to Merle's game. So where do you go? I mean, you know, this is bishop f4, h6, not bishop g5, h6. I like the fact that the bishop has the ability to retreat back all the way. Merle just played e3, stopping knight h5, though. That's principled. But at the same time, you know, I feel like e3 is very, very modest. Although, you know, you may be purposely playing, like, solidly because it's a computer. One of the problems with playing computers, though, I think, is that it alters the way you play. I mean, if you're consistently playing strong engines, it's going to make you gun shy, basically. It's going to make you alter the way you play to the point where it might make you a worse player. More passive, for example. No, here, it's interesting. The Ponomarev played knight c3, okay? That's a principled move. There's no doubt knight c3 is not bad. And I'm not surprised that Mamedyarov here played d5, because he's playing against his Verasov knight on c3. This is principle. This is insane. Lawrence Drabke, also a player I played in First Saturday in Hungary at one point, a German IM. He actually also did this as well. I mean, you could see some sense in it, you know, h6, so you can play bishop f5 and play it like a London system with bishop h7. But I think here, Merle Dixon, that there's got to be a justification for playing c4. I mean, I realize you're playing the London system, but, you know, seeing h6, I would want to go one way or the other here. Like, either knight c3 to try to get a good Verasov, or else go with, like, c4. I mean, there's nothing wrong with what you did, but, I mean, I think it's important when the other opposing player, obviously they're the other one, when the opposing player makes a move, when they make a move that you know is concretely bad, you know, h6, our principle understanding of principles tells us this is concretely a bad move. When the opponent makes a move that we know is bad, I think that we must, it's our duty, essentially, to try to take advantage of that move. And in order to do that, you know, we may have to go outside our comfort zone just a bit. You know, I'm not saying like you gambit a pawn with like e4, which is not that ridiculous, probably after h6, but that's too far. We're going too far. 5-card draw says, the problem with most amateurs who play the Lens system is they don't understand when it's good to go to a normal d4 system and play c4. Exactly, 5-card draw. Merle Dixon is beyond, I think he's a little beyond that level, but he seems like a strong player with some experience to me. But I think that you're right. Like, the majority of people who play the London system, they play a kind of robotic, opening in a box, you know, type of thing where they're always just doing and regurgitating the same setup every time. And you have to be, like, open-minded. You have to think outside the box and not always just regurgitate the same setup. I mean, e3, it's up to him. He's playing a computer. You know, he might be like, all right, I don't want to open it up. So anyway, c5, this is a dangerous move, favoring the computer, opening the game. And we have a theoretical position where this move has been played. Merle's adopting a solid setup probably because he's playing a computer. You know, I mean, it's not a bad idea. So takes. You know, if you want to play for a draw, I mean, you know, this move is not bad here because actually there's the idea that your knight might, you know, benefit from having the c3 square. I have no idea what would happen after, say, like knight to d5, though. This goes into the twilight zone. Something like knight to d5. It's a little bit weird, but that's probably a good move for white. Generally speaking, exchanging on d4 is not good. Keeping the tension is usually best. So black should probably play something like queen b6. I like that. Merle would play queen b3. You know, queen b3 here. Very solid. This is a premature exchange on d4. C takes d4, e takes d4. Classic recapture. g5. And I don't know where to put the bishop now. You don't want to just give up your bishop for the knight on b8, obviously. And I would seriously consider bringing it back to c1 because, you know, that may seem strange to some people, but you have the impact of like a very aggressive plan like h4 maybe. The bishop's still pretty powerful yet difficult to attack. It defends b2. So I don't think retreating back to c1 is ridiculous. This is like a normal move, bishop g3. Another normal move is bishop e3, Ferenc Berkesh style. This bishop, we could just let him take it, you know. Let him come here, have the bishop, and we'll just increase our preponderance of pawns in the center. Or maybe now we'll bring it back to c1. So there are a lot of interesting possibilities for white. Oh, this is a correspondence game, you know, keep that in mind. But it's between 1 and 60 seconds, right? That's what he said. No, it's between 1 and 60 seconds. This was a move that he played bishop e5, but maybe this was wrong because, I mean, he's playing bishop g7 and he's going to kick you out with d6 and you're going to give up your bishop and you're not going to have any compensation for it. Now that's a weird move, in a way. I'm expecting black to play a move that attacks the bishop on e5, and he should, you know, something like knight to c6. And then we'll just have to move our bishop again, and we waste the tempo or we trade it off. Either way, I think it was a mistake. You know, so here, this position, probably better to do like bishop g3 in the first place, or pull it back, you know, all the way, or put it on e3. Bishop e5, an aggressive move, but a mistake, I think. Debatable. You can get really aggressive with h4. It's a matter of style. Merle's more solid. But after d5 now, you've got a better control of e5. I don't like d5 that much for black. Now you have the problem again. What are you going to do? You're going to trade it off. You're going to play f4. Knight f3. And black has g4 now. This is totally Mamedyarov zone now. You know, he'd be all over this. Ponomarev would have no chance with white now. As it gets more and more irrational, the Mamedyarovs of the world, they start to cheer and become very, very happy with their chances against this. The more rational, more correct Ponomarev. Anyway, g4 was strong. The computer's handicapping itself. It's playing... Oh, no, it did play g4, right. Bang. Goodbye, Mr. Bishop. That's our bastion of solidity in the center of the board. And now it looks like black kind of has the initiative. He seems to have an initiative here. But the computer handicaps itself again. Or maybe not. I was expecting knight h5, just keeping g4 protected. Apparently there's something to this knight d7. Wow. Craziness. So it's starting to get really out of control. You know, the computer is upping the ante, basically. And Merle played f4. So you could sort of create more chaos with e6, or you can take on g4. Taking on g4 looks like the sensible thing to do. Merle, I wonder, you know, are you averse to a lot of calculations in your games? Queen takes g4, knight takes e5, I was actually looking at, you know, is this like losing a piece, though? Queen takes g7, knight takes d3 check. I'm lagging, guys. That's why I can't make a move here. So my lichess is lagging. I got very bad lag. King e2, knight f4 check, and this is like, you know, probably where Merle Dixon was like, you know what, I don't feel like calculating this anymore. But it looks like you have to go crazy and walk your king out into the middle of the board, and you're winning, you know, if you do something like this. You know, I would be scared to do that. anywhere, in a blitz game, in a correspondence game, in an over the board game, whatever you want, but in this time control, okay, Tushar, take care. I know that it's late for you. It depends on the time control. I would have been a little bit concerned about this. In the computer's view, this is like a piece up for white. But yeah, I mean, that seems like scary, But I think that Merle is strong, decent positionally, but he's not looking for tactics as much as he needs to be. This is the kind of thing where I can make that criticism, because I'm a kind of universal player. I think that I have weaknesses, but I see tactics, I balance it out. I'm also positional, but I know how to calculate when I need to, and sometimes I'm afraid too, But this was probably necessary. So he plays like f4. And what's the problem here? I mean, black is simply winning a pawn. That's what it feels like to me. We're winning a pawn, and he doesn't take it. Again, the computer is handicapping itself. So that's how it's 2200, not 2600. It's taking en passant, and we're losing the e-pawn, and we're worse. I mean, this is what should have happened. Like, knight takes e5, knight takes e5, bishop takes e5, and welcome to the Carol Khan, or whatever you want to call this position, where you're just down a pawn. Black has the two bishops. He's up a pawn. There is some issue about his king safety, but I would still take black if I have to choose a side here. We have a pawn more. We have the bishop pair. So it plays knight c5, and that's a problem, because now these pawns are just killing black. It's just, the whole game just changed. Look. If you have two bishops and you can't open the position and your king is in the center of the board, this is the difference. He doesn't take en passant on f3, and now the center is strong. The center is very, very strong. Those two pawns change the game. Now suddenly white goes from worse to better, because that pawn just kills the bishop on g7. That piece alone. I mean, your knight might have problems if he plays something like e6, but anyway, the important thing is that his unopposed bishop on g7 is now not a factor. So let's see what he did here. He played bishop check. I'd rather not do that if I had the choice, because, in a way, we're just putting bishop on a really funky square with no real purpose. I mean, black's going to play king f8, and the king anyway, is likely to not castle. So I was expecting king f8. It didn't do that, though. I was expecting that for sure. That's weird. But I guess bishop d7 is fine. It's funny. Stockfish, the real Stockfish, agrees with me that king f8 is a good move. It's kind of close on the fence between bishop d7 and king f8. Really close decision. I like this too, but I'll tell you guys one thing. The bishop pair, when you have the bishop pair, you want to keep the bishop pair. Soltigo, thanks so much for the bit donation. You want to keep the bishop pair. I like this in the sense that the bishop is kind of bad. White's, black's white square bishop is kind of bad. It's hemmed in by its own pawns. So he's looking for white square control, like the knight on d3, the g4 pawn. All right, let's see. So anyway, good game. Very awkward knights. Okay, knight b3. Best move according to the engine. But I'm honestly very concerned about this, because black's knight seems to be coming to e4. When I see you play knight b3, red alarms are going off, all over the place. Does that make sense? Red alarms? Did that sound right? Merle Dixon, Saul, thank you guys for the donations. I see knight b3 and I see knight e4, and I'm like, wait a minute, do we want to do that? Do we want to abandon control of that? So I think this is a more constructive move. I mean, something like queen e2, just keeping him off of e4, and developing a piece. So you could castle either way for white here, depending on what's going to go down next. I don't like the knight on h4. Mark Dvoretsky, when I met with him and we had some lessons together, he told me this simple plan, and I've mentioned it many times, of like, if you don't know what to do, you use the principle of the worst piece. And obviously, so This is a priority. Get the knight in the game. The knight on h4 is it's like an illness in white's position. It has to be fixed. But the first priority is get the pieces out, you know. So knight b3 is kind of a weird move. Knight e4, he's got a really strong knight himself now. But our knight can get to the center, so it's very double-edged. Castles, rook c8. I wonder if black could consider castling queenside here. Yeah, this is like the best move. So it seems like, you know, the stockfish just handicaps itself by making the second or third best move here and there, you know. I'm not going to accept this 10-0 standard game. I might play a blitz game or two, but right now my lag is so bad that I can't even do that. Tomorrow, my day off, I am installing a new modem and a new router, and I think that our lag problems should go away. We're just crossing our fingers, guys. But I might not be able to accept any challenges if the lag just continues like it is. So, that's probably the best move. But handicap, Stockfish plays this. Rook c8. Leaving his king and his rooks unconnected. Disconnected. We've got to be I'm going to teach you guys to be grammatically correct. All right. So those non-English speakers, non-first language, you know, native language English speakers, you can use my stream as a way of improving your English. But in order to do that, I have to speak grammatically correctly. All right, h5, good move, and then g3. I mean, it's hard to blame Merle for playing g3. Computer's given him a question mark for that move. I mean, that's pretty harsh. There is no other way to get the knight in the game except for the obvious knight f5. Okay, so he missed it. You know, I would have played this like he may be even thinking this like the previous move. This is one of those situations where you're sitting there and you're thinking like, okay, black will probably play like e6, and then what do? I'll play g3, and I'll get my knight back in the game via g2. Then, you know, black makes the move that you didn't expect here, h5, and you're kind of like on autopilot, and you play g3 anyway. Obviously, this doesn't work because the queen takes g4. Thus, h5. But you're on autopilot here, Merle, with g3. That's the problem. Tactical autopilot. Merle is playing sound positional chess with good basic judgment, and he has some experience, but he's on tactical autopilot. He's possibly lazy with calculation, because I know this, because I do it myself. You know, not as bad, maybe, but depending on my mood, how I feel, you could also look for tactics. You need to look for tactics here. I mean, e6 looks interesting, to be honest with you. Let's say h5. This move needs to be calculated because it's a forcing move, by the way. But I don't, you know, it just looks like you come up empty. I don't see exactly what we've got here. Like trying to blast it open with like f5 or something. Interesting, you know. Hikaru and you know, someone like very tactical would probably definitely calculate this 3 or 4 moves deep instantaneously and then reject it because there's nothing there. But you have to at least think about the possibility. My friend Charles Hertan did a book called like Forcing Moves or something like that. Charlie's a positional player. It's really funny that he wrote a book about tactics, which is random, but this idea that you have to calculate the forcing moves. At least you have to calculate a few moves deep. Afraid of being wrong, not lazy. Okay. There are different motivations, you know, that make us why we are like we are. Lack of confidence in your calculation abilities, which we all have to a certain degree. I definitely have it to some degree. So anyway, a6, computer's on autopilot itself. A4. I think Merle kind of played a4 reactionary move there, but I mean, you know, he wants to stop b5 and the minority attack on the queen side. e6, yes, queen d3. His king finally settles on a location. This move, tough position. You know, you really want to play f5 at some point, but how can you make that work against the computer? So, I don't really get rook e1. You know, I'm not really sure what this is about. Queen c7 looks good. Now you've got problems with your king position. The computer is mixing in good moves and like second-rate moves, and then good moves and second-rate moves, and sometimes it's playing really good moves, and then it's just like mixing in a bad move. So it's like Queen C7 was a good idea. He's coming over here to get this diagonal, and then he just like stops and goes off on another plan that had nothing to do with that. So, you know, enjoy your somebody's going for a what's up, Soltigo? Can you do my game and please read the message next? Gotta cook dinner. Do your game and please read the message next. What message? Did he read my message? Alright, so you better not miss them. Let me see this. 5 next time, Sludgy will donate bits for urgent messages. What was the urgent message? What's up, Bob? Man, did I miss an urgent message? I'm just like in the zone. Yeah, I'm trying to really focus on the position. You know, I love analyzing when I really get into it. So Soltigo's going to be off cooking. We'll do Soltigo JCS game next. I think that's next on the list already. Computer alternating between good and bad moves. I like this plan, Saul. I like this plan, Earl. Earl. I called him Earl. I'm all mixed up. Saul and Earl. Merle. But you hit on the plan. Finally, we found something. Man, and that's how Black lost the game. I would assume, you know, what comes down is h3. You know, and I'm seeing that the pawns get destructed. And a useful analysis tool is to just, you know, kind of imagine what could happen if you had a few moves in a row. What you can imagine here happening is that Black's position gets obliterated by h3. His kingside falls apart, and then he gets checkmated down the h-file. I mean, now we have a plan. Black's counterplay is too slow. But then he mixes in this crazy move h4. Creating insane complications. Though it's got the good move and the bad move, and the good move and the bad move. And now, wow. I mean, this looks good for white. I have to say. It really looks good for white. I mean, structurally and in terms of his king not being safe with the h-file opening up, I would think that Black would be in trouble here. Well, now see, it plays like best move. Suddenly the white king is not safe. And you're like, oh my gosh, do I have to play like rook a2 or something? That's frightening. I would have lost my mind at this point, Merle, honestly. I probably would have lost. You know, I would have been terrified of queen takes b2 and made a really stupid move like rook a2. But there's no time. So you have to go with rook h1. Maybe I would have found it, okay. So it looks like now white's just hanging on. Bishop takes d4. Check. Here. Check. King g6. It's all forced. Well, you got a perpetual. I would have taken the draw, probably. Let's see what you got with f5. Pushing out to g5. And he's coming in through f4 now. That's insane. Wow. And there's no, like, draw now. You're basically all in. With no perpetual in sight. You've pushed him over the edge. No obvious draw. Yeah, I have to be honest. I would have been a chicken here. I just would have taken the rep draw. Because I don't see anything. It looks like he went over the edge too far into the abyss. And that's what happened after rook h5. Black's actually, according to this computer, I mean, Black's actually better here after king f4. But it's possible there's something deeper that I don't see. I would have seen this and been like, it's a computer. You know, I'm in trouble. You know, maybe against a human, they would have been too afraid to go into this, but yeah. Yeah, I would have taken the draw. I'm sure. I'm a chicken. So somehow, Stockfish messed this up, though. Queen e2 threatening mate in 1. How can he stop the mate in 1? Okay. Queen f3. There's only one way to stop it. There's only one way to control f3. Knight d2. And that wins, apparently. This is the other way, but Merle found it. Rook takes g5. Wow. And then it had to sack its queen, and white's just winning. Crazy, crazy stuff. Handicap computer, very fun. Asterbay was like h4. No, there's no room for panda here. All right, guys, we're gonna I'm gonna have to forego playing these challenges. Move 11 submitted a game. Okay, cool. We got time. I just want to thank you guys for subscribing to my stream. Quite a few subscribers. A lot of you guys have donated here to the stream. Salt today, Acerbate, Merle. Thanks so much for supporting the stream. Alpha Merle. Now we're gonna do the Soltigo JCS game, and JCS isn't here, is he? Was he here? All right. Yeah. This game is being submitted by both JCS and Soltigo. They play the game against each other. So let's check this out. Recently, our moderator, Soltigo, who I always joke about being kind of a maniac style player and very creative, I call him Subtle Tigo. He played a game against me the other day, which I complimented him for. He played a very contained, very controlled, kind of solid game, and I was thinking, wow, that's the first time I've seen you play solidly, and you drew me, and you actually had a slightly better position, and I thought I'm not encouraging you to change your style, but to be able to play more than one style, to be able to adapt. If you're over 30 years old, I can tell you by experience, it's not easy. So learn to adapt. That's why I like to do the Weird Wednesday stream. And in other words, boring. See, Soltigo, that's what he thinks. But it's not always the case. Anish Giri, he's probably got, I was saying this to someone today, but Anish Giri, a lot of people consider him boring. He also has probably like the lowest cent upon loss of any like Grandmaster or 2700. It's just a question of what you think is beautiful, perfect play or fun, what do you want to go for? Anyway, this is Soltigo against JCS, two of our subscribers, our moderator and subscribers. So E4, E5, 92, the Alapin opening. And I always used to use this as an example of how to fall into Legal's mate. Legal's made like really, really fast, so the funniest, coolest line I remember, I guess, is like an example from The Art of the Checkmate. It was a really good book for beginners, I think by some French masters. I recommend it. Renault or something like that. So let's say bishop c5, right? And now we do d3. How can this be a fail for white quickly, right? We do like d3, knight f6, and then here we would play bishop g5. You gotta like this. So the problem with the Alapin's opening is that you have to set yourself up for this Legal's mate, or whatever it's called. Bishop takes d8, bishop takes f2 mate. That's what I think of when I see, 292. Absolute classic, how to lose in 4 moves, like with white, by fundamentally, what's up, Yellow Dragoon? Fundamentally violating opening principles. Like, okay, what are we doing here? We're playing an open game with e4, and then we're gonna put our knight on e2 and block our own pieces. Like when we're teaching beginners about fundamental principles, okay, what are the worst moves you can play here with white? King e2, the bomb cloud, or whatever. I think that's a good competitor. Probably this is a good competitor for the worst possible move, right? I mean, I didn't figure it out mathematically. I mean, I know obviously f3 is a bad move. And then you can just hang a pawn with maybe b4. But obviously knight e2, it's not a great move because you're obstructing your own pieces. You're obstructing your bishop, you're obstructing your queen, you're obstructing your king. You're obstructing all your own pieces. And this is something that I want to first understand what I'm doing wrong, before I can break the rules and try try to, you know, understand what I'm doing is philosophically wrong here for white. You know, I'm moving my knight to a square where it's inferior. It's in an inferior position. But anyway, it's a minor mistake, okay? And Soltigo's doing it on purpose to take his opponent out of book. Okay, so knight c6. Fundamentally, I like knight f6 best. You know, I think this move puts pressure on the white position. And that's like the first idea. Another idea, you know, you could go crazy with like f5 or like a reverse king's gambit, but I think the knight coming to g3, trying to hold on to the pawn, could be a problem. So it looks like knight f6 is black's best. Anyway, so JCS plays this. We play, you know, transposing to Twilight Zone here. Wow. Now I understand why you submit this game. Rufus and Doofus, what's up? So we played knight c3. Wow. All right, now Soltigo's getting really weird. TN. Someone played. So this is an actual move, apparently f4. I mean, d3 looks reasonable. d4 is obviously trying to transpose to the Scotch, perhaps. Black could take advantage of this, though, you know, by playing maybe not the Scotch, trying to do some crazy move. I'm not sure, though. This is unbelievable, actually. Do you guys see this? That there's not a single game ever played in the lichess master database? That's sort of unbelievable. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, the chameleon variation against the Sicilian is extremely common. You play like c5, knight e2, and after... Okay, sorry about the lag, guys. It's getting really bad. But, you know, very, very often you see this. Look at the theory. Look at the number of games. 254, including Magnus Carlsen. So, isn't that weird? Okay, it's like a little more dangerous to do it here because it's more of an open game because black's played e5. You'd think, okay, maybe there's some way that black can take advantage of this. You know, I was thinking, can you do d5? But look at Stockfish. Stockfish is like, no. There's literally no way for black to take advantage of that. There's an insane variation, though. Wow. Look at this, number 2. Soltigo, you're going to like this. We have to stop and look at this for a second. Knight f6, d5, bishop c5. You gotta look at this. Okay. You gotta play this next time. I mean, next time this has got to be the game, guys. That's an amazing line. So we sack a piece, it looks like. D takes C. Wow. Like a full piece. And knight g4. I'm sort of stunned, you know. I'm just kind of stunned that this is even possible. You would assume that this is going over the top, or at least it would be like unclear, but the computer is just like, this is just totally bad for white. Full piece up. Almost a full piece up. Okay, let's see. Bishop e3. Bishop takes e3. F takes e3. Or you can take on d7 if you want to. And then queen f6. Again, a Scotch opening theme. Attacking f7. That's insane. That's really amazing. Anyway, we're off the beaten track, guys. I just wanted to go through that. So, Soltigo avoiding theory with incorrect moves, okay? Now, you can get away with this because you can probably place your other knight on d2, I would say. You can place the b knight on d2 and continue your development. You're white, you lost a move in a sense here. But one other line that's kind of cool. I mean, I'm thinking if you want to justify moving this knight, Soltigo, I think that maybe your other knight needs to go to c4, sir. You know? If you really want to justify playing knight e2 to c3, does it follow that you need to play knight d2 to c4 to e3 to justify that plan? You know? So if you put your bishop on c4, now your knight is robbed of its best way of getting into the game. You'll have to do something artificial like knight f1, knight e3, knight d2, knight f1, knight e3. You know, so maybe you should just play like bishop e2 here and content yourself with that, and that. You know, something like knight d2, knight c4, knight e3. But it's not very macho, is it? So bishop c4. I like this. This is very cool, though. Castles, castles, and now knight d5. Okay, I can't justify knight to d5. I mean, you need to develop your pieces, and I think this is why I really like the book Modern Chess Opening Theory by Swayton. I talk about it all the time. It was my inspiration for learning, like, you know, how to play the openings correctly. It's a book that's like out of print and it's out of date, but a lot of cool examples about just principled opening play and exploiting mistakes in the opening stage. It just teaches you the principles of the game. And a kind of high level, not a beginner, not an absolute beginner book. But anyway, Soltigo, breaking from principle here. You're not developing your pieces. You got to know when you make this move, I'm making a mistake. You know, I think I'm making a mistake here. But he just buys into this. I mean, he's got to do this, you know. White isn't outstripping you in development with black here. He has to take this pawn. JCS failed to try to punish you. He has to take this pawn. What is this now? Is this some kind of almost like a Belgrade gambit or something, like d3? I'm not putting my knight on d6. I don't really want to do that if I don't have to. I would prefer to play knight f6. Is it a bad move to play knight f6 and allow the pin with bishop g5 and go back with bishop e7? I think that's like the easiest way to play. Knight takes e7, queen takes e7. Computer doesn't like queen takes e7. There must be a problem here. Wow, and you've got the other knight rolling out. Oh, wow. All right, so Soltigo has this all worked out, it looks like. Home cooking. The woodshed with Emery Tate. Man, even f4. You've got initiative all the way. So this doesn't solve the problems. This is what he had in mind. What Soltigo had in mind. Hoping for that. This is interesting. Look at this. I don't want to lose the initiative. Knight takes f2. I thought about this, but I rejected it. I looked at queen h4 here. But queen h4 is nothing, I guess. You know, that was my problem. I only looked at this. But apparently, this is okay. You play it like... you guys know the variation of the open Lopez. What is that called? Where you do like knight takes f2, and you give up two pieces. I can't remember the name now. The open Roy Lopez. Anybody know this line? You know, white had the sacrifice material, and this just kind of takes a lot of the pieces off the board. And then knight a5, there you go, another piece off the board. This would really disarm an attacking player like Soltigo. Take a lot of the fun out of it, trading a lot of his pieces off the board. And black is okay. At least okay. And black may be better. So that's probably the best way to go there. To just take on f2. Take the pawn, take on f2. You got a rook, two pawns for two minor pieces, and black has the initiative. But really interesting play. So he just plays it safe with like, I'm not going to go into that gambit stuff. Okay. In this position, he just plays d6. Very interesting is d4. I'm a little surprised Soltigo didn't go for that. You know, that looks like the kind of thing that we're looking for here. Again, Belgrade Gambit, Dilworth variation. Thanks, Move 11. Exactly. That's what I'm thinking of in the open Roy Lopez. It's a similar theme, you know, black takes on e4, and then he just takes on f2. And he's got enough material and doesn't lose the initiative. But look at this. This would be our hope, you know, to achieve this. We get this in, and then all of a sudden, at the cost of a pawn, white sort of steals the initiative a little bit here. So I think that would be creative to play d4. But if I guess this is quite complicated. Still, I think that's the gambit style. You should continue in the gambit style here, Soltigo. You play knight c3, and you don't really have a threat, ATM. So, but this move is losing time in order to kick the knight out with c6. So it seems kind of justified. d3, knight takes d5. Right, and now he'll kick the other knight out with c6. So very solidly played by black, very safe, and the material's even, unfortunately. So he settled for like equalizing when he probably should have gone for more, with knight takes e4. You kind of bluffed him, and he was afraid to go into it. Bishop e6, very solid. c3 seems to be a normal move here. I would call it equal at this point. But bishop e3 feels like a mistake. You're playing that, and you're giving him your bishop at the very least. Like knight takes b3 should be a tiny bit better for black. So I think that's just a concrete mistake. It's not that bad for white. It's a closed position with 18. How many pawns are there? 16 pawns? Yeah. 18 pawns on the board, right? I'm just kidding. I can't add 8 plus 8. It's 16. A takes b. F5. Controversial move here. I like this bishop pair, but as I mentioned, there are 16 pawns on board. I think there's 16. Panda? Panda's really good with math. Let's consult him. Let's see. 1, 2. Sorry. I don't know how many pawns there are. All right, so Panda doesn't know. I think it's 16. 16 pawns on board, and the point is that when you have 16 pawns on board, the bishops are going to be kind of hurting for open lines. If we can exchange a few pawns, the bishops open up, and I think they'll really start working. But it feels like JCS makes a mistake here by playing f5. The golden rule when you have the bishop pair is to not let the other guy trade them off. You want to keep both bishops on the board. And I think that this was his big mistake. Losing his opening advantage by letting you just chop off his bishop. Black has a tiny advantage after f5, but he's trading off that white squared bishop. That's his whole advantage in this position. I mean, look at this. This thing is unopposed. It's very strong. It's centralized. It looks both ways. White doesn't have a white squared bishop. I mean, if he plays d5, black's just better. It's still 18 pawns on board. No, it's 16, right? All right. 16 pawns on board. Panda, all right, just leave me alone. 16 pawns on board. It's not 2, it's 16. There's this d5 move, and you've got, trouble, and you've got to open the position slowly. Slowly open the position for the two bishops, and black should be a little bit better. So f5 it's a hasty move, and I think he loses a huge chunk of his advantage with this. Still there's the f-file. Still there's the stronger development. So he does still have a little edge. But he loses a big chunk of it, like with this, and now this. Okay, well, whatever white played here, you should play bishop e3, probably. Bishop e3 is the safe move. I guess Soltigo has that in his back pocket, though. So I guess queen g4 is okay. We'll let you go with queen g4. It was a strong move. You have some counterplay. This nice, too. Don't mess with Soltigo tactically. If you're going to mess with him, try to mess with him in the opening. You want to try to exploit his sort of sketchy openings, but here he's pretty good. Queen f6, ironically, pinning himself is the best move. Like stopping bishop e3. That's really kind of sick, but not a move you want to play automatically. Queen f there, and then bishop e3. Now it's equal, and the game ended in a draw. White got an advantage, though. How did this happen? Wow, he just jettisoned his whole act. I think that, JCS just overlooked this lateral idea with the queen. So you just have to accept that this is a draw. Bishop takes, pawn takes, and then like maybe rook. Can we play rook f8 now without dropping something? We're gonna drop an endgame, like g6 or whatever. Yeah, okay. Something safe, and black's probably all right. But this just totally shattered his whole pawn chain, Queen check, here, chop. And that can't be good. Obviously, Magnus Carlsen is having a lot of fun here with white in this position. We've got superior pawn chain, maybe an extra pawn. And then you could have played f3. And then basically those pawns are both hanging, right? So, nice move. Bang. Wow. e4. That's nasty. I mean, Soltico thinks he's winning, and I thought he was too. I mean, he's on f2. He's protecting it 3 times against the triple heavy pieces. He figures, oh yeah, I won a pawn, I'm good. And then e4. Uh-oh, that's a rude awakening. And suddenly black has counterplay. So it was kind of lucky, but I'm sure that JCS saw that in advance. And then he has enough counterplay to save the game. Takes here. Now Soltico, pawn structure wise, I don't know what to do. Yeah. So it's just a mess at this point. A mess. It's a heavy piece ending, and it's probably equal. Why not take on a7 though? I'm definitely playing rook takes a7. I like my queen where it's at. Definitely like the queen centralized. But rook takes looks good. Rook takes, queen takes b3. And black has the better pawn islands here. But it still should probably be about equal. Okay, guys, let's go on to the next game. That did end in a peaceful draw, I guess. Right, okay. What's up, guys? And I can't figure a plus 8. It's supposed to be a master of calculations. Life is not fair. No, it's 8 plus 8 is 18, right? It has an 8 in it. You see, that's the joke I always tell people. You're a titled chess player, and you go to a party where most of the people don't know how to play chess, and somebody tells them that you're a chess player. And the classic that always kind of made me irritated was, and I've told this many times, but they're always like, hey, you're a chess player. I heard that from your friend. I bet you're really good at math, and it's always the same thing. Like there's this total, like they put you in this sort of prejudice box where like, oh, chess players are math nerds. It's absolutely not true. I mean, there are many different avenues to approach chess from. I mean, some people are just math nerds or whatever, but I never really, was into math that much. I like geometry, and I like statistics, but I don't consider myself very, very good at math. But I do know how to add a plus 8. Anyway, you like the maths. No, it's cool. There's nothing wrong with liking math, but there are other things about chess besides the math angle that make it cool. That's why chess is awesome, because everybody sees it differently. I mean, some people are like really into the competitive aspects. Some people are into the artistic side of it. The aesthetic side of it always appealed to me. The beauty of like certain positions. So I always thought that was funny, though. Everybody always just really generalizes about math and chess. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying that's not the only way, not everybody has to be a math junkie. So I don't have to know what a plus 8 is to be a chess master, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, guys, back to the next game. All right, so we're on to S4. Crazy guy. They automatically think you're very strong at checkers. Yeah, that's another party question. Hey, you play checkers? I've got massive lag, guys. This will end tomorrow, I promise you. We've got S4 here. The S4 game. This is a Dutch defense. Awesome. Okay, the Korchnoi Gambit deferred. Definitely an interesting game. Wow. Okay, LM versus S4. You're welcome for the analysis, Soltigo. The least I can do for your help here as a moderator on the stream. And subscribing to the stream. Soltigo, relatively new subscriber. No need for that, but I appreciate it. Yellow Dragoon, keep up the maths, man. I mean, I was decent in math, okay? But I did drop my university math courses because I just wasn't into it, you know? In high school, I was okay, but I just wasn't into it. You just have to really love math, you know? And I like the other elements of math in statistics and geometry, as I said, but just pure math never appealed to me personally. Okay, so d4. Here's s4 is black, so we have d4 f5. You know, I'm trying to remember s4. A great player, I think. He's got a lot of talent. He likes to play sort of ultra complicated games. He plays the King's Gambit. He likes to speculate and play crazy sacrifices and take the initiative and take huge risks. Here he's playing the Dutch. I think the Dutch is like the most aggressive opening you can possibly play against d4. If you want to be really pure about it, you could say, okay, e5, you know, sacrifice a pawn. But that's just utterly unsound. Okay, so f5 is the most aggressive move you can play against d4. That's not utterly unsound. Okay, let's make that statement. Now, bishop g5, that's my favorite move, the anti-Dutch with bishop g5. Computer likes it. I think bishop g5, bishop g4, it's always good against everything. b3, g3, f5, f4. You know, this is always good. When you're black too, d5 and bishop, I love it. The Tory attack against everything. Where's Bob? But anyways, white played h3. Another interesting move, you know, white could try is like queen d3. I've seen this on occasion. What's this called? Alapin again with the e. This has got to be better than his knight e2. You know, e4, e5, knight e2. I like queen d3 better, honestly. You know, it's equally weird, but a little bit more, I don't know, active than knight e2. It's the day of the Alapin variation. No, but g4 is the Korchnoi Gambit, which I played once unsuccessfully against a good friend of mine. I went down in flames playing this once. Believe it or not, you know, I used to play like kind of semi-maniac chess at some stages of my career. I was much crazier, but I'm pretty stable now. Yeah, but anyway, so g4 is like a main line. h3 here is like a delayed Korchnoi Gambit, a deferred, if you will. So black plays knight f6. It's difficult to suggest another move. Again, queen d3 wouldn't surprise me. You can also bail out with like playing the London system or something like that, you know. I think a good player, honestly, a good player like a pro, like a grandmaster or a strong IM, who was really, really smart, had a lot of time to prepare, I would say, you know what? Learn to play this. Learn to play g4 and learn to play bishop f4 as well. To have like more than one weapon in your arsenal. You know what I mean? Black doesn't know what's coming. You could play knight f6. You could play, oh, real solid positional game one day. And like the next day, you reel off like a delayed Korchnoi Gambit. That would be like the ultimate chess player who is capable of doing both. But if you have endless time, I guess it's possible to achieve that. Anyway, like white plays g4. Okay. Computer now sort of giving, you know, this is harsh, but it's giving us for a dubious, this is the stockfish analysis, I guess. F takes g4. Hard to believe that this is a mistake. But the Dutch is a mistake on move 1, probably. Your first mistake was playing f5, technically. It's a risk worth taking, right? It's hard to criticize this move, but are we going to be able to do this? Are we going to be able to follow through and take with a knight? And I think that's the $1,000,000 question, because if we're not following through with knight takes, we could try something like d5. This didn't happen in the game, but I'm asking the question. Now this is too annoying, like g5, g6. You guys know, just theoretically, the Dutch's mistake. I just mean literally in a theoretical sense. Okay? If you're a stockfish and I'm like, you know, Ribka, and you played the Dutch against me, you're making a mistake, you know, but we're not. We're just arguing like, you know, hypothetically. It's a mistake. It's a risk worth taking. Um, so this is too disruptive to play like g5, g6. We're screwed here. I think. It looks like it. Let's see. Knight e4, g6. Anyway, we're giving Saul ideas for his next adventure. Wow, apparently this is not crazy. This is not crazy. Oh my goodness. I thought this was like already bad for black, but it's not apparently. You could do like e5 and let him take on h7. I'm terrified. Rook takes. I love this variation. This is the best. Rook takes, pawn takes, queen h4. Hey, make another queen, why don't you? And this is fun. This is what Saul plays chess for, stuff like this. You gotta admit this is fun, but all right. Saul takes on g4. Kind of, it's a wing gambit on the other side of the board. It's like, the Sicilian wing gambit. This is the Dutch wing gambit, except the king is weakened, so it's bad for black. The problem seems to be that, one thing is like the queen side when it's the Sicilian wing gambit. Okay, fine, it's your queen side is weak, but here it's your king on e8, so you're just in deep trouble. You guys also know this variation, whatever it's called, d4, knight f6, g4. I forget what this is called. I mean, people even play this, I've encountered this in Blitz, like here, maybe this. And if this is playable for white, I don't think it's great, but some crazy people play it. Imagine how good this is, Imagine the difference if this is f5, g4, or h3 in this case. Knight f6, and then g4. So we see all the professional Dutch players didn't venture pawn takes pawn. The first one to do it is s4. So any kind of developing move, d5 or e6, look reasonable. Computer with an interesting novelty here, knight e4. That's not a developing move. I don't like it. It's creeping me out. You're moving the same piece twice. I think my stockfish is just suffering from lag or something. I mean, yes, I know that you're threatening e5 and queen h4 and stuff like that, but it looks really coffee house. Probably slightly dubious to move this knight a second time. It looks like d5. I would imagine there would be even other moves. You could probably play something like c6. This would be reasonable, but not the most developmental. So it looks like d5. The experts agree on d5. All right. So he takes. Things are getting dangerous, but it's not too late to bail out with like d5. But Salt just takes the pawn, and the guy plays queen d3. I mean, e4 looks a lot more direct. But queen d3 is interesting too. This seems to be strong as well. You have, rook takes h7 type of shots. Even if g6, we have to consider that as a possibility. And that's what happened. Wow, I didn't think this worked. So he's coming with knight f3, knight g5 really fast. The best response to g4 generally is d6 from Infinite Flash Chess. D5, sorry. This is one anti-Dutch variation I never really looked at. The h3, g4. So g6, wow. Yeah, I mean, the thing is the knight is coming through. It's coming through to f3 and g5 quickly. I play the delayed Lisitzin gambit with knight f3, d3, and e4. And there are situations where the same theme happens, where you can do rook takes h7 and sacrifice a rook, and like a delayed pinning him down to f7. So I really thought that white was intending to play like knight here, knight here, knight here, but apparently it's better just to take. I was getting a little carried away. I thought we could do something totally nuts, like knight f3. The problem is when the knight goes to g5, you've got knight h6. It's a small issue. There is that small little problem that when you play d5, I go here. There just happens to be a move for black. This little problem here. And that's it. You know, there's no more fun after that. So we just have to take the material back. And then it's not so clear, I guess. So we just have a fun position at this point. Black's king and Black's development doesn't look real fun. But White's development is really only the queen, essentially. I would argue that c1 is also developed. But he can get his pieces out very fast. I mean, the bishop coming out here, knight to f3. It's a little easier for White to get developed here. And there's threats against the rook on f7. Okay, d5 is instant development. Queen h5. There's no threat yet, but knight f3 is coming. So be prepared. Saul definitely doesn't want to trade queens because that's not his style, you know. I was thinking something crazy like queen d7, queen g4, you know, trying to trade queens, but you can't do that. I'm just seeing knight f3. I guess we're going to have to play knight c6 to answer knight f3, but the knight f3 is hitting us from two different directions. So how do we, you know, how do we defend against both of those threats? In other words, bishop g7. I'm not sure what's happening here. I mean, what are we doing? Is that the best move? So, I mean, White is down the exchange for a pawn. Black can give back material, it appears. This computer variation. Queen d6, knight f3, queen f6. Looks creepy, I have to say. This looks very creepy. But I guess we can give back this exchange in one way or another. I still like White. White has the initiative. If we win back the exchange, we're up a pawn. This pins the knight. It's very primitive. But it's only temporary. It looks like bishop e3. We're renewing the threat of knight g5 and knight e5. And that's the valuation. Slightly better for White. Bishop f5, knight e5, winning back the exchange. And that's crazy. Okay. So let's see what happened. He came up with like bishop g7, not meeting the dual threats. Just one of them. Bishop g7. It also frees up king f8, obviously, or castle, you know. I didn't even want to imagine castling myself. Someone said it in the stream. Now, what do we do about that? We're going to play bishop f6? Oh, goodness. So, like, even this, I think, you know, like, looks okay. Positionally. Exchange, compensation for the exchange. But, White played knight g5. Well, I don't think knight g5 is that bad. You know, I think that's a human move. It's the second best move according to the engine, actually. Wow. So, apparently knight c3 is stronger. It's a very subtle thing. This is very natural. So, at the end of the day, Saul is down, you know, down a pawn, but he's got the exchange and he's hanging on to it. But definitely the kind of situation you want to put a player like him in. He wants to have the initiative, and he hasn't been allowed to have the initiative. This was a good general idea to play queen d6. Knight c3. Now there's that dual threat. Again, dual threats. Like the knight attacks two different directions simultaneously. c6 is slow because White's also got e4 coming in. So this is a very scary position for Black. Even though he's up the exchange, who cares? He just develops a piece. Wow, and e3. Man, I mean, it's weird that White played e3 because he just, like, he's played so insanely aggressively and then plays this chicken move, like e3, very quiet. Amazing. I don't know if I ever played this guy. Looks like not. Wow. One would just assume castle's queenside. If you don't see a reason not to castle queenside, I mean, it's pretty hard to understand. It's pretty hard to understand how you wouldn't castle queenside. You're developing, you're protecting your pawn on d4, you're keeping e4 as a possibility. It's really weird that he didn't do that. That's extremely strange. e3, a very quiet move. kind of giving up the initiative. And then suddenly Saul became concerned about this, with reason, because that wasn't protected. By playing e3, this is not a threat, in other words, what I'm trying to say. There's queen b4 check, winning the game. So Saul, being very tactically alert, he saw that when white goes e3, knight b5 becomes theoretically an idea. It's probably not that big a deal, though. You could play queen back to d7. So in other words, bishop f5, queen d7. That's nice. You get ideas of bishop g4. But this is a logical move. It's just slow. And suddenly black is lost, according to the computer. Slight problem. So that's it, man. You have to play bishop f5. And if knight b5, you have retreat. You're just hanging on by a thread. I thought you had queen d7 here. Man, apparently that doesn't even work. Wow. That doesn't even work because of this. It is hard. I mean, how's black going to castle queenside? Man. That's insane. So, how are you to defend here? Knight b5, queen b4 check. Counterattack. King d1, and then you can take on b2. And yeah, there's the f2. So it's counterattack. All right. Isn't the check Benoni bad? Says 5-card draw. No, I don't think it's bad. I just think it's one of those openings that's hard to play. You know, you find very few players who are skilled enough to play the check Benoni well. You've got to be a player who plays the check Benoni and really excels in closed positions. It can be very effective, say, taming tactical players, forcing them to play closed position. That's another story, though. This was the Dutch. Great game. Let's check it out. A6. This was slow. White has bishop d3. Now, what are we going to do? Only bishop e6. He piles up. And now, what are you going to do? Sacrifice a piece? Knight d8. You can't play knight d8, can you? It looks like the only option, really. I mean, to play knight d8 and to bring your king to d7. You know, that's what most people would have done. I think that it's weird. Saul played the rook d8, but he's in the eternal pin here. If he didn't lose this game, it's just nothing short of a miracle. White, what is white doing? Like, why did white take this? It's like crazy, you know. He can play castles. That would be my choice. Keep the pin. Why not? After king d7, bishop takes, and we're up a piece, right? Oh man, so Bishop Boy like just lost his mind. He's got you in the pin. Keep the tension. Yes, he has even better moves like bishop f4, but let's not pretend we're a computer. Let's just be logical. You played rook d8. Why did you not play knight d8? You know, protecting that guy, and maybe you can play king d7 and try to survive down the exchange. That's the only chance. But Saul is like, am I missing something here? Like, he has no defense. You played rook d8, he took here, and now he's like letting you out. You know, bishop takes f7. My goodness, now it's just a pawn down. Major mistake. And he tries to trade queens. I wouldn't really want to trade queens with black's position, but would you consider bishop g6? Now I sound like American pickers. Like I'm haggling or something. One of those shows on TV. Would you consider 400? Okay, TV references for 500. You know, I would think Saul should seriously consider not trading queens, practically. He trades queens and wins the game. Okay, this shouldn't happen. I mean, now the queens are traded. There's no way that black should ever win. Someone mentioned bishop g6, knight takes d5, but there was some problem with that. I didn't like something about this. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. You're right. When you're right, you're right. You can just do that. Yeah, because it's check. I guess I just forgot this is check. Well, you do have bishop takes c2, but okay. This is getting pretty creepy, I admit. I probably would have traded queens too. I know this Saul doesn't want to trade queens, and I wouldn't want to either, but my sense of danger, okay, was a little off. You're right. We have to trade. And how does he win this? Knight b4. Probably not a good move. It splits. He has 51 seconds left. But better to play king d7 and just get your rook in the game. And you're good chances to draw here. Only knights, opposite color bishops, all the pawns in one formation. Good solid chance to hold a draw. But knight b4 is a big mistake. He makes another mistake. King in the center in the endgame, king d2. So here, it's still close to the center. I mean, it's not a huge blunder. And then rook here, bishop f4. Uh-oh, counterplay. Unnecessary. Knight c6. Oh, and he dropped a piece. Yep, that's not a good move. Not a good move. Yeah, he figured when your knight moved away from b4, you know, he'd done his job. He picked off that d5 pawn. But it's not a good idea. All right, that's enough. You won this game. You actually messed it up. This is winning for black now. Still not that easy. He has 2 pawns for a piece. Okay. It got crazy, I guess, after this. Is this worth looking at the end of this? Because, I mean, it looks really far out. We're just down a piece here. Rook g1, king d7. Normal move. Was this sudden death? There was a 10-second increment, and you have a minute 23 left, and you played rook takes f4. That's just like being fancy for the sake of being fancy. What is that about? Like, why do you voluntarily do that? Now you're going to have to really work to win the game if you do that. You've got a sudden death situation. I could see maybe you freak out, but with 10-second increment, are you serious? Like, why do rook takes f4? Even if you don't see knight takes d4, fine. You know, I would play like rook f7 or something. Just safety first. Yeah, I mean, this is insane. You know, now it's like I'm not even sure if white's like that much worse, objectively. Take the pawn, but yeah, I mean, I guess he's worse. It's probably not easy though. I mean, maybe even a draw. Crazy to do rook takes f4 with that amount of time that he has left. He's just having fun here. Probably another bad move. I mean, c5 just makes it easier for white to trade off of your pawns. You want to keep your pawns away from being exchanged at this point. You know, it's going to be very difficult to win, but any pawn you move up like that, he's just going to trade off, and it's going to be a draw. Okay. Yeah, now he made it hard to play b4. Now I played b4, but you can lock it with c4. That's weird. Trade pawns, man. Trade pawns, not war. I mean, this is ugly structure, but it's still going to be really tactical. I didn't like c3, but anyway. Very difficult to win, but also difficult to defend. So this is about a minute each. That's lots of time. Now it's a draw. You know, another mistake. Just don't trade pawns when you're up material. I mean, it's just a guaranteed principle. He could even play a5. I think he could also take. a5 is like playing for a win, you know. He's basically playing for a win, which is unrealistic, but in a fast game, okay, I'll forgive him. Here. Now your knight looks really ill. Knight on h4. That's not good. Wow, you could lose. The white king is so strong. He's got f5 break. You could even lose, man. This guy likes endgames. Look at that knight on h4. Oh my goodness. Not a good knight. Not good. Wow. Now he's tied down. King g5. Very hard to win this. Even if the computer says it's +3. Now it's not very hard. Saul missed knight c6. That's just game over. Looks like it's just game over. Yeah. So it got kind of crazy in the time pressure. Eventually, I bet the b4 pawn falls. Yeah. He has f5 last try. Knight takes b4. Here. Scary f pawn. Wow. So you can't take on f5 because he'll win a piece with like rook d4. Now it has this dangerous outside pawn. Who knows what's happening now? Now you're going to have to like sack the knight or sack something and queen your queenside pawns. It looks like. Wow. This isn't a good square for the knight to be on. I don't like that. You need to play knight e5 and put your knight on d7, and then you can sack the knight on 2 different squares. Knight d8 was really awkward. And then if your knight gets attacked, you're going to like resign or something. Wow. He just missed it. Attack the knight. He's got to attack the knight. Kill the blockader. Rook c1. Rook c1. Bishop c4. Rook d1 check, it says. Looks like a draw. Bad knight square. Now your bishop. It's an illusion. Funny. e5. The important thing is that the knight can now coordinate with the bishop to control f7. That's probably the losing move. Wow. So he has this. Rook c1. Threatening to come down. And now black has to play like bishop c4 or something. And then repeat moves. Really crazy game. Alright, I gotta end there, man. And this thing is... He purposely tries to find 80 move games every week. Saul. You gotta submit one game that's like less than 60 moves. Please. Like, just once. So let's see the end. Very quickly. Knight takes f7. It's over. Now it's just over. Alright, that's the end. It was less than 60 moves. Alright. So, what do we got for remaining games, guys? We still have 45 minutes left. Is that right? 45 minutes left in the stream. I'm a little bit later starting today. Don't want to look at the average center pawn loss when s4 plays. It's usually over 100, but not only for him, for the other guy too. That's pretty much been my experience. When I get involved in a game with him, the chances are that that both sides are going to have center pawn losses with over 100. It's just something he does to the game. He purposely does it to try to make it absolutely crazy. So it was really back and forth. But I think with that increment, those guys played the endgame too fast. You know, they had plenty of time, and they had no excuse for playing that fast. All right, move 11 submitted a game. Guys, I'm not playing tonight because I've got this really ill lag. We're going to just do the game analysis. Move 11 here. This is for the subscribers. But as I said, on a positive note, new router, new modem. We should be good to go for the next stream, which will be on Sunday. Sunday subscriber stream will be 4:30, same time as this. We're going to try to make the streams from 4:30 from now on. EDT. 4:30 subscriber stream Sunday, guys. It's coming up on next week. I'm going to be away for a good chunk of the week on a trip for like 3 or 4 days. So the stream on Sunday is on for 4:30. Simul, 25 players, 40 time control. Monday as well is on 4:30. It'll be this week. No stream Tuesday through Friday next week. We're gonna miss 4 streams and then be back to the following Sunday. But I'm gonna continue with 4:30 EDT streams, and I think we're gonna probably do 5 streams a week, and try to make one of them a morning stream. You know, something like 4 days a week, 4:30, and then I try to do like 10 in the morning type of stream that would like appeal to the European players maybe who can't come on late at night. Anyway, this is move 11. This is a game he played against Saluir. Move 11, 1376 against Selweir, 1390. Oh, ICC game. I was like, what is going on with the ratings here? Even so, Move 11. What's up with the 1300? All right, that's pretty weird. 2 plus 12. Let's check this out. Guys, check out my uploads. All the streams are on YouTube. Video chess training on YouTube. Please check it out. Like and subscribe over there. It's free. Just do me a favor. Like my YouTube channel. Also, thanks to everyone who supported the stream with bit donations. You can also donate via PayPal. You can find the link to the PayPal either on Twitch or on YouTube. Saltigo. No stream Friday. What am I saying? I'm losing my mind. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, we have a stream. It's tomorrow. Tomorrow is the stream. Stream on Sunday. I'm sorry. I just totally threw everybody off. Yeah, tomorrow we're on. We'll make it 4:30 just to keep it simple, okay? So we have it just 4:30 from now on. You know, I moved it up from 4 to 4:30. Yeah, but I was talking about the next stream being Sunday. Thanks for clarifying that, Soltigo. We are on for tomorrow, 4:30. We'll make it just regularly 4:30 with the occasional 10. To make it, you know, so people can remember the time. Move 11, one of our regulars here. He's playing black. Facing knight c3. Yeah, I believe in d5, but what I want to say here is for the other people, not Move 11, but other players who are watching the stream, when people play unusual openings, when people play offbeat stuff, let's say knight c3, b3, you know, whatever you want, any kind of offbeat stuff, I really think you should approach it in a way as if you were white, you know. So when people play second-rate openings, knight c3, f4, b3, you know, decent but not really correct openings, a3, sort of slow openings, you want to approach it like you're white. And here, Move 11 is playing d5. I think that I like d5 personally, but I'm also a player who plays a lot of d4 with white. I think that Move 11, being an e4 player with the white pieces, should strongly consider, you know, a different approach. Maybe playing e5. The problem for him, though, is that if he's an e4 player who doesn't play e4, you know, e4, e5, he can't really go into that. So maybe for Move 11, he could play, for example, what do we say here? Something like knight f6. If he doesn't want to play d5, he could play knight f6, for example. But anyway, okay, d5, arguably the best move against knight c3. You've got to play now e3. This is a line that I've actually gone over a little bit. A funny move. It's funny, Soltigo, I just read it. Okay, Mubat is black. We should play against Mubat. I think that would be funny. If Mubat could play chess, Soltigo. But, yeah, I mean, so obviously the main lines are like e4 and d4. Knight f3 is another move. Weird line, e3. And now Move 11 takes up the challenge with e5. I have jokingly played this with black a bit here. e4, e6, or e4, knight c6, if you like. The reversed version of d4, e6. Not that bad an opening. If you really want to play something outside of the normal realm that's not totally unsound, I would think this kind of weird, messed up French would be interesting. So, anyways, a reverse of that. I do know someone that I work with who's played this with white. e3, now e5, and then queen h5. All right. So now this seems to be a thing. There is a guy who I don't know anything about, this Bukavshin. He used this to beat Yevgeny Nair in 2015. Nair is a guy who's very well prepared theoretically, so I could see something like this kind of upsetting Nair, or a player of that theoretical caliber, a really well prepared opening specialist, would be kind of disturbed by this. It's sort of ultra hyper modern, Tony Miles-ish move, queen h5. Let's see what else we've got there. Nothing from the old school days. There might be some older games if we check in like Chess Base or something. Alright, it feels wrong to play Queen H5. But I think if I were white, I would just play D4. You know? This is the more principled move. We're just going to play with... You know, we're going to play the French with an extra tempo. And maybe that extra tempo could be useful. I've seen some games, quite interesting stuff, like F3 here. This guy Schuster, this is correspondence, okay? Michael Eigner is a FIDE master from the United States, and he's an over-the-board player, but he's actually, let's see, quite strong in correspondence chess, 2600. But these are definitely correspondence games. So this Schuster guy is playing this a lot in correspondence. I saw some really neat game. It was like knight f6. One of my friends played this. F takes e4, d takes e4, bishop c4, I think. With very strong play, like on this diagonal, I would think. Possibilities of developing play along the f file, 92. Black has to be careful not to overextend himself. You know, that's... Worse would probably be like f5, like losing immediately, right? This is maybe what I saw one game. This is nice. Trying to play f5, and now this is extremely strong. Bishop c4. I think, you know, I think we had a player in the stream here, Spectacular Camel, who's actually played this with white, if I remember correctly. So you got to be careful not to overextend. But this guy, okay, he's going a little crazy with the queen h5. It's interesting, though. It's interesting. I got to admit. But it doesn't feel right, you know. It doesn't feel right. I mean, that really should be, like, punished somehow, ultimately down the line. But it's interesting. So knight c6, bishop b5. It's all thematic. He's putting pressure on the e5 square. Queen h5 puts pressure on e5. This puts pressure on e5 by taking out the knight. I would be looking for gambit possibilities for black. That should be the first thing we check here. Let's play a novelty move 11. Let's play knight f6. Call his bluff here. Queen takes e5, check. Bishop e7. Can we get away with this? Is there enough compensation in this type of position? Let's say whatever. You know, what does white do now? Engine is like h3, preparing queen h2. Triple exclam. No, probably not queen h2. h3 apparently. This is interesting. Like, check it out. Let's let Stockfish go a little bit longer. Can we sacrifice a whole pawn for the initiative because the white queen is so far, you know, overextended, and white is losing track of his development? We're just sacrificing a pawn and mobilizing. You know, let's say d4, okay? Okay. Hey, just play h4. No h4 here. d4 castles, massive compensation for black. You know, this is interesting. Some people might see this position and say, hey, black's just down a pawn. But that's not the case. I mean, we've got the bishop pair. White is behind the development. He has a weakness here on c2. The white squares are weak. There's all sorts of problems. The bishop is bad. So it may be possible to just flat out sack a pawn there. You know, trying to take advantage of the opponent's weakness. He doesn't have development. So it appears that move 11 followed the advice of Yevgeny Nair here. No, this didn't happen in the Nair game. That's weird. So Nair did knight f6 here. Oh! Nair had the right idea, but he did it right away. So Nair played knight f6. That's interesting. He just sacked the pawn with queen takes e5 check. Straight up. That's interesting too. Oh my goodness. So, wow. Let's see how Yevgeny Nair managed to lose. He knows everything. He even knows this obscure stuff. Knight a6. I'm not super crazy about that, to be honest with you guys. Yevgeny, I'm not super happy about my knight on a6, but I guess we can deal with it. All right, knight d4. And now, if this guy played knight g4, he knows too much. And we need to call... We need to call Ancient Aliens and report Yevgeny Nair for knowing too much. If he played knight to g4 here. That's pretty frightening, you know. I mean, white plays the most obscure gambit in the world, or whatever variation in the world. Yevgeny Nair even knows this. So what happened here? Did he play knight c4 or g4 or knight c5? What do you guys think? What would Nair do? Strong grandmaster, and he's like principled. You know, knight c5 kind of looks interesting. I'm going to say he played knight g4. I was wrong. This is the correspondence game. But knight c5, also interesting. Lukashin managed to win this. Very unclear position. But maybe the best move of all here. The ultra insane queen d7, according to Stockfish. Like, preventing knight f5. That's interesting. Who knows? Okay, it's just totally obscure. Anyway, guys, let's just get back to reality. So Yevgeny Nair finding a different way to gambit a pawn. Going for the initiative right away. Move 11 went into this, which has been explored, no doubt, correspondence game. This one, at least. The other games, I don't know. You know, Doctor somebody, then it's almost always a correspondence game. If you guys see that, just so you know, if you see Doctor whatever so-and-so in the lichess Opening Explorer, it's 99% chance it's a correspondence game. Now d4. E takes d4. So it's e takes d4. It's the exchange French with queen on h5. Wait a minute. That's an idea. That's a thing. Wow. This opening just became an exchange French. That is so strange. And, you know, knight c3 and queen h5, or knight h3 and queen f3 are actually common themes in the exchange French. But I don't really like that this is happening necessarily, you know, move 11. I wish we didn't have to do that. I wish we didn't have to exchange on d4. Knight f3, that's another move. This didn't happen. Novelty alert after knight f3. That's crazy. That's a cool line. Knight f3, tn. I'm going to start playing this opening for white. Knight f3, theoretical novelty, e4, queen e5 check. King d7, double exclamation point. You know, Soltigo, you're eating your heart out here. I mean, you couldn't make up something this weird. You know, there's just no way. And it's all mathematically correct. There it is, the math again for you guys. It's all mathematically correct according to the computer. Wild, fun line. Anyway. Alright, so what else can he do? f4. Yeah, I just don't think that's going to cut it. It just doesn't make sense without a bishop strafing down this diagonal. Alright, so d4. So what can we really, you know, suggest to move 11? Well, the Nair variation looks pretty cool, honestly. I think that this is a more natural move than queen d6. You know, I think I like Nair better. Okay, but queen d6, everybody's a materialist. Queen d6, knight f3, tn, d4. Was that a challenge? What did I say? See, here the problem is he's opened up his bishop, and I feel like that makes the position very stodgy and sort of symmetrical. I mean, not stodgy in the sense that it's not tactical, but we lose the dynamism. I mean, it feels like black has an advantage with a stronger center, and now if he's going to make me trade into symmetrical, we don't really have the better of it. Okay, so take, and then move 11 here played what? This is not the game? Oh my god. I mean, all the time I've been analyzing the wrong line, or I just left the main line. What did I do, guys? We left the main line? This is the game move 11. Queen d6. How did I leave the main line? Did I change your game? What happened here? You're kidding me. Like, the guy played knight f3? The actual game is knight f3? Or is this my analysis? The actual game is knight f3. I see. This is the actual game. And I thought I was just making this up. Okay, so e4, queen e5 check is the actual game. I said you couldn't make up something this crazy. All right. That's funny. Okay. You could make up something this crazy. So you'd never find king d7. Forget about it. Like, even Soltigo wouldn't find that move. Best by test. But bishop e6 makes sense. Developing a piece. I challenge anybody here to tell me that someone's going to play king d7. Like, come on now. If they play that against you, you know they're a computer. It's just a weird move under every circumstance to play that. Knight e7. Wow. Queen takes, pawn takes. Knight e4. And then we're comfortable here. I'm fine with this position. I'm fine with this. Bishop d7. This I don't like. I don't really like this. I like breaking the pin, you know. This is protected. Let's break the pin. And another thing I want to do, move 11, is trade his good bishop for our bad bishop. I was just working on a very similar position with another student where this pops out. We play 95. Uh-oh. Trade the white square bishops. That's good for you. So I think the bishop e6 is... I think bishop e6 is really ugly, you know. So Zest of Life is saying he would play bishop e7. Well, there's no bishop e7. You mean the other position. Instead of king d7, yeah. Now, bishop d7 is the move. I would play it 100% of the time. I don't like a6. It's a wasted move. It forces his bishop, you know. I wouldn't think it would be a bad thing for him to go back to e2. Why am I chasing his bishop? It's not hurting me on b5. It's actually taking away knight b5. Let's play bishop d7. We're good. Check it out. Am I lagging here? I'm waiting for the next shoe to drop. Is this lag? The best move, according to this engine, is bishop e2. Look at that. You see, it doesn't want to trade its good bishop for our bad bishop. We have an issue, though. There is something about this issue with the pawn, but I'll go for this. This is a really, really weird Nimzovich. Now we have knight f5 or whatever. No, we're fine. Okay, so I don't like bishop e6. That looks like a slight mistake. That's kind of awkward. You know, that will never be good. What are you going to do with a bishop on e6? It's just condemned to passivity for the rest of its natural life. All right. I mean, you could correct the problem and lose a tempo, but you're not likely to do that. Having played bishop e6, are you going to move your bishop again? The very next move. And now the computer's jumping on knight e6, and your opponent played knight e6, but again, he may not have many choices, but this looks interesting here. Now, in the spirit of keeping that bishop a bad piece, knight e2, and maybe like b3, but now he has another problem with his bishop getting trapped. So it's truthfully not that easy. Taking the knight takes e6. Another subtle move, rook d1. That's deep. Allowing knight takes d4 does seem strange, though. This is really weird. It's like a reverse Nimzovich Sicilian or something, and it's not even a Sicilian. So he takes this bad bishop to open up the white squares. Maybe f3 or d3 now. He's got to break. He's got to open the white squares. He's taken the bad bishop. He's playing for Jolly Joker. Unopposed bishop. Taking advantage of the white squares. Totally different game now. d3. Pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes pawn. Knight b4. That's like You must be studying with Saul. You've got the same theme going on with the weird knight b4 moves. I'm thinking that you're really, really lagging in development here with black. I mean, you got this is here, this is here. The bishop can't even go anywhere. So I would play g6, you know, this pretty quickly because it's easy to look here and see what Stockfish says. But I don't care. My bishop can't move. You know, this is a no-brainer. You put the pawn on a square opposite color of your bishop, excuse me. And it's still not easy for black. He can play like d4. Your bishop's sort of dead. And I think you might even put your king on d7 here. It's actually not that crazy to put the king on d7. Let's say bishop g7, bishop d2, and then black to play. What do we do? I'm voting for king d7. Not ridiculous, because it's in the center. We're going to go for the c file. Maybe we'll play a6 if we have to. But if you want to be on the safe side, yeah, you can go over here. But I don't like, you know, not having my king in the center. Maybe it's the better move. Is this guy a computer? I mean, is white a computer? Because it started to cross my mind. He's played an awful lot of perfect moves. He's 1300. d4, a6. Not a bad move, but not developing. Bishop e2, g6. Good move. Bishop d2. No temptation to play something like a3. He's down with the piece moves. Now it's time to start thinking about our health and basically the c file. We're starting to think white might be a computer at this point. Too many good moves, too perfect. Let's see. Knight f5. That was dangerous, though. I mean, you're really not having much sense of danger here. Your knight b4 was a bad move, not developing. And I'm glad you submitted this game move 11 because it's very instructive. But I think you need to start realizing what's going on here. You know, you got into a weird position. It's totally out of your normal ballpark. He doesn't exactly scream 1300. Yeah, well, I thought he got lucky for the first like 13 or 14 moves, but I'm beginning to suspect something here. I didn't see the end of the game, and I didn't see the result. But I'm just watching the engine climb, you know. Knight a4, Shazam. Knight a4 is not in the top 3 of my engine, you know, but my lag is really bad, so I actually like knight a4 better than a3 in terms of... I'm just being paranoid, maybe. But still, yeah, the ratings, I don't know. These ratings might not be accurate. It's not a lichess game, okay? This is from another chess server. Here, rook c1. Now he realized, get out of that c file. It's a little too late. I mean, white could win a pawn with bishop takes a6. But there's this counter tactic here. White's better, but it's kind of messy, you know? So what does the 1300 do? He goes for it. You know, also, like, that's probably an indication he's not a computer, or at least he's intentionally making the second or third best move, because it looks like Stockfish wants to play build-up moves. It's so confident in its advantage that it doesn't even need to win a pawn. I mean, you just keep building here with b4. Maybe. Maybe. But I can't calculate far. My computer's slow. Don't cheat with my computer, no matter what you do. Because my lag is just too bad and my machine is too slow. So here, move 11 finds this. This is the only try to keep him in the game. And then here, okay, bishop d3. That's obviously not a 1300 level move, but he doesn't have a lot of choices, to be fair. You know, just recapturing leaves him with a kind of crappy structure, I would say. So even common sense would dictate that this, you know, this leaves white with a kind of dubious pawn on d4. So moving the bishop, okay, you know, that's a human thing to do, sort of. Here, bishop b5, also human. Human or not human? That is the question. You know, move 11 didn't say anything to me. I mean, he didn't say, oh, hey, look at this game, like this guy used an engine against me. I mean, this is just my own opinion. I mean, it's starting to look a little bit suspicious. Now g4 would be a possibility, going completely on the other side of the board. White focuses instead with bishop b5. Juicebox Wizard, thank you for the donation. I was just saying earlier that we hadn't seen you for a few days. You activated a football giveaway for 18 others in chat. Cheer any amount to get football emotes. It is like insanely generous. Thank you so much. 400 bits. Let's see what happens here. Move 11, hanging tough. Knight b6, only move rook c7, and then g4. Uh-oh. White is intentionally not making the best moves. I think, you know what? White is I think white is Stockfish level 7. Did you guys get the same feeling? That it's not Stockfish, it's Stockfish level 7. Because we had a game that was submitted by Merle Dixon earlier today, and that's what we saw from the Stockfish level 7. It would never make a crazy absurd blunders, but it would like make second or third best moves. My internet has been really bad here too. We got a new modem and router. It's going to be installed tomorrow. You guys see my lag. That's why I couldn't play today. So g4, knight h4. We're committed to the side of the board there. Ouch. Wow. Move 11 is a computer too. No, he didn't find d4. Oh my god. If move 11 was a computer, he would have found this miracle move, d4. Saving himself from annihilation. Wow. That's apparently the only move that doesn't allow immediate annihilation. Knight f3 check is close. Infinite flash chess, take back. Take back with 1, guys. Just don't forget, Juicebox Wizard, 400. You guys got football emotes if you donate any amount of bits. I take back with 1 donation should qualify. But check this out. Bishop g7, bishop takes g7, and move 11, he's hacked to bits when he plays 1 human move. Takes, bishop takes, b takes, snap. And then what are you going to do? You're down material against the 1300. He played like watered down god. h5, move 11. That was a move on Stockfish's like radar for a while there. You're close. Stockfish playing, move 11 is playing a mere like 2100 strength in this game. His opponent is solidly 2399 or something. Rook takes d6. Is this a mistake? I don't know what the deal is with the ratings though. Maybe move 11 can tell us, because are those like literal like ratings from the site where you played, or is that just some sort of weird mistake or something? Can you fill us in, move 11, on the rating thing? Rook takes d6, knight f3. You didn't do it. I don't know what this does though. Knight f3 check. You like check, and then take on g4, right? It was a weird oversight by move 11's part. He could have done this and like taken on g4 and had threats of rook takes h2. You're doing it for the football mode. Of course you are. That's what you're supposed to do. This was played on ICC game. Can you guys see that? I guess you can't see it under the stream. ICC game. So move 11 here melted down, making a human move. And then, man, he's evacuating. So this is a very accurate move, giving him like king f1, I guess, in a lot of instances. I can't play Mexico chess. My laggy wants to play 3-0. Good joke. Knight f3 check, and there it is, king g2. No, not what we expected. So now, like, all the calculations go out the window. I thought the point was to play king f1. Wow. But it turns out that king g2 is okay. And that's also the best move according to the engine. So it's 100% engine. I think that most humans would be like, all right, I'm bugging out. I'm playing king f1. But he's playing king g2. Best move according to Stockfish. Rook takes check. Just walks up. And then knight d7 check. It's like a mate. Yeah. So it's going to be mate now in short order. No immediate mate, but yeah, this is 100% computer. I don't know about any Andras situation. I just heard someone criticized him for using chess base when he was playing or whatever. I don't know enough information. Not enough information. Rook b6 check. Yeah, so that's a computer. Like, I would be like 99.9% certain that white was using an engine in this game. I don't need to see anything else. It's obvious, you know. But anyway, move 11 put up great resistance against the computer, I thought. Like, he kept it close even till the end. Good job. Guys, we have like 10 minutes left. So if any other questions, let's just hit it. Did I miss any games that were submitted? I don't think I missed any games, did I? Oh, Nefedov threw in something at the last minute. Sorry, all right. We got time. We got 10 minutes left. Nefedov a little late. If I have to analyze. If you have to analyze. Look at that. Mexico chess. I'm streaming and I can't be playing like rated games with this 900 ping. Sorry about that, buddy. Anyway, I don't play like 5-0. Nefedov, just in time. Our last game for today. I will be back with real internet tomorrow, guys. Hopefully. I didn't check the times. Yeah. That's usually what a lot of, you know, they'll use to catch cheaters with time use. But we can see the position was just played too well by white. I don't care if he's 2200, you know. If he's 2400, I mean, it's still a computer. If he's an IM or a GM, you know, you can tell. You know, that was just too obvious. All right. Nefedov. That's why I don't play on other chess sites, guys, by the way, like chess.com and membership sites where people pay to have a membership. You know, lichess is cool because people can voluntarily donate money to lichess, right? But they're not entitled to anything. You know, the people that donate are generally not going to be people who cheat. I mean, why would you voluntarily donate money to a site on which you're cheating? Lichess polices the site well. They keep a lot of computer cheaters out. And they don't have motivation to not catch people for cheating. And I think that's key. Because on sites that charge memberships to play, they have an incentive not to catch cheaters. And so I'm not surprised to see, you know, this game submitted there from Move 11. Anyway, this is Nefedov against another one of our former subscribers, Arsenal fan Rich. So, Battle of the Brits. Nefedov against Arsenal fan. Okay, e4. We are white here with Pavel, and it's the French defense. And Pavel plays the Chigorin, Queen e2. I did this sometimes. I was inspired myself when I played through some old Chigorin games. You can also play like a modified version, I guess. How would we do that? Would we try something like knight f3 first, maybe, and then play it against c5? Is that a move? This is a move as well. Although in this position, honestly, I mean, I guess like a lot of things are played. Like g3 is a pretty trendy line, and you can do hybrids of the King's Indian attack with Queen e2. That's been very popular in the latest years, you know. Queen e2 hybrid, King's Indian attack. Rather than the traditional knight on bd2, white will play instead like a quick Queen e2. So let's see what's up here. Stockfish just mercilessly criticizing the Stockfish analysis. Dubious. Best move is d4. No, all right. No, Queen e2. It has the pedigree of one of the greatest players of the history of chess. Mikhail Chigorin, the father of Russian chess, maybe. Who was first? Petrov. Queen e2, c5, f4. I like it. I like f4. There are other ways to play, but you don't want to block your f-pawn. I think that's the pivotal thing when you play in the spirit of this King's Indian attack. You know, the last thing you want to do is like block it in. I like Queen e2. So f4. You can play it like, what do they call this? The big clamp. There is a setup in the closed Sicilian where basically you do like all pawn moves, and I call it the car. You see how the pawns are shaped like a car. You guys think I'm taking too many drugs. I mean, that's just not the reason for this. Maybe it was a long time ago behind it, but But basically, the fact that the pawn structure, and actually this pawn can go up here to c3. We can have a car-shaped pawn formation. We're going to move all the pawns and just slowly encroach on the enemy without any of our pieces being exposed to attack, because all the pieces are behind the pawn chain. They're all harmoniously coordinating behind the pawn chain. That's the scheme, possibly. We don't want our queen getting attacked. It's no need to play c3 right away. Knight f3, and then bishop e7. Kind of a weird move. But you see, one of the points of queen e2 in this e6 type of structure would obviously be to take away black's ability to play d5 and like recapture with the pawn. We have the queen along the file. So that's an idea. Infinite Flash Chess says McShane and Short have played this position. Yeah. And a lot of strong players have played queen e2. I mean, look, let's just check that. Right here. Before we condemn queen e2, who's been influenced? I mean, Nepomniachtchi, Morozevich, no surprise there. Morozevich, not only a massive fan of Chigorin, by the way, like probably the #1 exponent of Chigorin in the modern chess, but Nepomniachtchi, I think there's a connection between Nepomniachtchi and Morozevich. Definitely. If you look at Nepomniachtchi's openings, there's almost like complete, carryover from those guys. They have to be close. Just a younger generation. Let's see who else. Morozevich was actually black, but he's also been white. You can see here. Nepomniachtchi against Morozevich. Ivan Chuk, he plays everything. Karyakin. So it's just an interesting opening. Okay, I criticized earlier. I was joking about Soltigo playing the Alapin e4, e5, knight e2. Queen e2 has its problems too, and it obstructs the bishop on f1. So here, a4. I think Mark Dvoretsky once, I was talking to him about King's Indian type positions, and Mark made a comment like, you don't really want to move the pawns on the side of the board where, your opponent is stronger. And I think that that's the thing here. When we play a4, why does nobody play a4? Well, a6 is an uncommon move, okay, first of all. Maybe everyone played d5 here for black. But the other thing that Pavel could consider not playing knight c3. You might want to play, like I said, the car. A kind of big clamp setup where you're playing d3 and c3 rather than playing knight c3. Okay, knight c3 playable. You're going to have to be careful now. If d5, d3. But he plays a6. Again, I would go back into a kind of closed Sicilian with g3 or d3. But I don't really like a4. I feel like Nefedov is taking the game onto the queen side where black is stronger, and that's not a good idea. You probably want to just resist moving anything in that vicinity, so it's better to just ignore it and go on about your business. And if you want to move a pawn, then it's probably the G pawn in this position. I don't like a4 a whole lot. It weakens the queen side where black is stronger. We're stronger on the king side, he's stronger on the queen side, and we should be playing on our respective. Stay on your side. No, that's what the panda says. He's like, yeah, Panda, tell him. Hey, my name is Panda, and I believe playing on your own side, so stay on your side, okay? Stay on your side. Nefedov, where are you? Are you hearing me? Play on your stronger side. Don't play on the other side, alright? That's Panda. Panda, the chess mascot. So b6, g3, bishop b7, bishop g2, queen c7, castles kingside. Pretty standard type of position. I just didn't like a4. And now we have an awkward moment. Awkward moments. So there is a problem here with Mr. C-Pawn. Yeah, I agree. It looks like we can't take it. We've got problems. Queen d3 is very awkward. Looks like Pavel played the only move. Queen d1. So we lost a little time there, you might say. And black also got rid of that knight that was cramping his bishop on b7. In the Sicilian, it's a big problem a lot. The knight on c6 getting in the way of your bishop either on b7 or d7. Also, you can clear the c file. So I think that helps black a little, frees his game a little bit here. Interesting that Arsenal fan has played this pretty well. and he's playing it in the style of Sicilian, which is interesting because he's actually like a French player. I don't know if he's branching out and playing the Sicilian, but he's playing this well in the spirit of the Sicilian rather than the French. But d5, yeah, I don't know what to do here with black. It looks like it's the best move according to the computer. d6 is kind of passive. That may be bad because then like knight takes, if d6 knight takes, c takes. I'm lagging, guys. We're lagging. Try to finish this game up, then it's time to call it a day. Hey, bud, I have a question if you don't mind. If it's a chess-related question, we'll try to answer it quickly. Kind of personal, but it may benefit the stream. That's a little scary. All right, we'll have the moderator standing by. So, d6, knight d4, knight d4, e5. Taking on French type of structure here. Knight takes f3. Regarding some books, well, I wouldn't consider that personal. Knight takes f3, bishop takes f3, and then Arsenal gets into his French type of setup. Now again, the French player is comfortable with the structure here. So, both sides are happy. It feels kind of safe for both sides at this point. Figures in the ears. All right, queen e2. It looks like that's our standard go-to square for the knight, but I think that Pavel's looking at knight d1 now as a retreat square. Well, he's also got knight e4. I mean, if that comes in, no problem. Queen e2 is not bad. It does take away the knight, but black's not committing his king. He could play h5 here, but it drops a pawn. Other than that, it's good. Yeah. Right. So, if I had to be stranded on a desert island, what chess books would I take with me? Yeah. It's the desert island chess book question. I mean, this is pretty classic. I think it's a good question. Strangely set up, but so these are the suggestions. You have your own list already. That's pretty good. Anyway, let's finish this up. So unfortunately, black is thinking about h5, but he can't do it without dropping a pawn here. He just castles fine. Last game analysis, guys, for today. Yeah, Pavel didn't know what to do now. It's kind of a tough quandary to decide what to do now. The lines are drawn. Bishop d2 is like a routine developing move. The knight on c3 is not great. You're kind of hoping for d4 and maybe pop it into e4 and migrate everything to the king side. Tough position. Computer finds an interesting move there, queen g2. But it's hard. Okay, bishop d2 is fine. But we're gonna have to move the knight. There's no question. Pavel plays queen g2, also a good move. You can bring him board in pieces. Well, I mean, I think 500 master games of chess, man. I'm kind of old school, I think I'd have to have a really good complete collection of great games. That's the most important thing in chess. Studying like classic master games. I say this a lot. 500 master games of chess, just all the classic games in history from, the last century would probably be a good book to have. And it's long enough that it'll last you a while. That one is definitely on the list. Okay, c4. And then, yeah, I mean, I think that Rich made a mistake here. I think you should keep the tension for black. Try to play b5, b4. And instead he played c4. Maybe not the right break. Now Nefedov solidifies the center. And white's going to roast him with f5. This very well might have happened. But I mean, 500 master games of chess is right here, guys. Just so you know. I mean, it's just something that I have laying around. It's about... My glasses are not here yet. It's 600 pages, so it's pretty good. If you're going to be anywhere for a while, probably not a bad book to have with you. It's like a Bible. I mean, lengthwise. I'm not promoting religion or whatever, but in terms of length, not too many Bible-like chess books. B5, he breaks at F6. Where's the panda? Panda. Hey, I told you guys, play on your stronger side, okay? Don't play F6 in the king side in the French in this sort of structure. All right. So panda is like, he's just like F6. Nope, that's not right. You don't play on the stronger side. You're in trouble. Yeah. So I don't know what the time situation is here. The battle lines are drawn. Now Arsenal fan is like, yep, I shouldn't have done that. Or, maybe Arsenal fans should play F5. I wouldn't mind F5. If you're going to move the F pawn, let's think about F5 here. But it's just the same thing. How many times have I seen Alexander Ivanov like just waste people with things like G4? It's probably best not to do it at all. Go with the queen side. Sack a pawn, anything. Just don't do it. Just don't. So F6, yeah, and then he realized his mistake, so then he played F5, and now it's G4. G4, King H1, Rook G1, and then smash him down the G file. Just smash him down the G file, and he just lets you win material. Okay, this is just like an overt blunder. Now he had to play G6. Had to play G6. Then King H1, I presume. Or maybe King F2. I mean, it looks a little weird to go toward the center on the F file, but King H1, and then we do the Alexander Ivanov. And just like how many times I've seen this happen in the Tarrasch French. When people try to play like F5 in the Tarrasch French, they just get it down the G file. It's not pretty. And Nefedov takes control here. But this is just a tactical crush. Now he's just overloaded on D5, it looks like. You can probably sack your queen temporarily, or what's going on here. Okay, rook on C to E8, just a blunder. And now Nefedov doesn't do it. You missed the move. Pawn takes pawn, and then it's overloaded. So rook takes, knight takes D5. Yeah, something like that. And you let him survive for a while. With G5, what are you thinking there? Lock it up and black's okay. He's okay now. He totally escaped. I don't know how white ended up winning the game. Because now it's just a horse race. I don't know. At this point, really, nobody's better. It should probably be like a force field draw, or one of those games where you like see this guy's, the whole board is like locked up and nobody can break through. It looks like that. That's objectively like what should happen here, probably. Like a whole board stalemate at this point. But Pavel finds his last break. Bishop B6, interesting. Man, that knight, what is with your knight on C3? It's been there for years now, and you never positioned it like on E2. It's amazing how you avoided moving that knight for so long, Nefedov. You were waiting for this. That's a nice move. Bishop B4 as well. H5 breaking through. Yeah, you got advantage on the king side where you're supposed to have an advantage. And you just triple on the H file, and there's no defense. Alekhine's gun. There it is. Well, it's not really Alekhine's gun. You need to have the rook on H2 and the queen on H1, but it's good enough. Good enough for our purposes, and it's over. All right, guys. That's it. Time to go. Panda rules. Anyway, guys, it's been a late night. This was fun. This is over. It went a little longer. I think that Nefedov was like being sadistic or something, but he really should be able to win this. Anyway, guys, I will talk to you later. I'd love to answer every question. I want to thank Juicebox Wizard for your donation today. Thanks, everybody, for your bit donations for the week. Juicebox, Saul, Esterbait, Clash Kid, Merle Dixon, everyone, Soltigo. Thanks so much, guys. We'll be back tomorrow, Friday, with 4:30 p.m. EDT again. Same thing. Great analysis today. I appreciate it. Bearing with my lag problem. Tomorrow again, we'll get the new router and modem set up, so hopefully the lag problem will disappear. Anyway, guys, check out my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. And again, tomorrow, Blitz and Rapid, actually not Blitz and Rapid, just Fast Blitz 5+3. I'm accepting all challengers tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. in 5+3 Blitz. Sunday is our simul stream, again 4:30 EDT, and it will be 25 players with 40/40 time control. Thanks, everybody. I'm running a little bit late, so I'm going to close it down. Please tell your friends about the stream. Thanks, Soltigo, for being a moderator. Thanks for helping and all the work that you do to help me with the stream. You're great, man. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks especially for subscribing. And that's why I do the stream to say thank you guys. Say thank you to you guys for supporting the stream. Thanks 11, Move 11, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.